are some unintended consequences from the COVID-19 restrictions. Appears a contributor to the wrong kind of driving change. Gulf also looking into
Police
drivers
forces say
going
they've
way
caught some motorists going at more than double the speed limit in the past few weeks. In one of the worst examples, the driver in London was caught in a 40-mile-an-hour zone, doing 134.
So, to the science. Why do we speed? What happens when you go fast? As you floor the pedal, there is a sudden spurt of the adrenaline hormone in your body, which in turn has many effects. Your blood pressure rises instantly, your heartbeat races, your body temperature rises, and you can feel a tingling in your limbs. These effects are seen in both males and females, but are decidedly more pronounced in males. This is why the obsession of speed is commonly associated with testosterone. This is also the reason why men are generally considered to be more reckless behind the wheel. Dopamine and monoamine oxidize MAO. This is another biological factor that determines your speed and obsession. MAO is a regulator in that brain that is associated with dopamine, a reward chemical that is strongly related to pleasure-seeking behaviour. It's a receptor called dopamine 4. Therefore, if you have low levels of MAO, there is a good chance that you're that kind of person who craves thrills and adventures. Engaging in these activities on a regular basis can lead to the formation of habits, which tends to make people risk their and potentially others' lives in order to experience ever-increasing thrills.
The danger don't worry me. I'm not worried about that. It was all about the bike, really. No, I've crashed at the TT. I've crashed at the TT twice.
Yeah, and both on Hondas, wasn't it?
Both on Hondas. Yeah, 2010 Wilson Craig. Yeah, broke me back. I broke a load of stuff. Broke me back. Broke me ribs. Broke me hands. Broke a load of stuff. It was all right. It was all right.
Does it put you off?
No, all I want to do is get back on a bike again.
Yeah.
When we was looking at the Survive the Drive, Bacon Survive the Drive, we looked at all of our stats and distraction, driver distraction, fatigue. That is a big contributory factor to some of our fatalities and our incidents, not necessarily speed. Depending what service you're in, depends what higher risk you are of dying as a result of RTC. So that's why we based our campaigns on risk-taking behaviour.
And so the speed at which we go doesn't really affect our journey times. It doesn't give us much of an advantage. It doesn't really give us a benefit. It might give us a buzz, and we maybe need to understand what that buzz is about. But then we need to understand what are the consequences of that. If I see a wide road, and I say, well, I can travel down here at 35 miles an hour, I'm not hurting anybody, there's no children around, I can see them all. Well, okay, so what have you affected? You've affected the parent who's actually at the kitchen sink looking out the window and seeing that those cars are going up and down here at 35 miles an hour, which is my Johnny isn't allowed to go to school on their bicycle or their walk. And you're affecting that old age pensioner who decides, I'm no longer walking to the shops because of the speed of traffic.
The open road thing, I do, and I think that's a really big, open road and good music equals speeding. Simple as that.
Do you feel guilty whenever you speed, or?
Not really, no. No, I don't excessively speed, what to call it. It's obviously you assess the situation.
Speed in the right place is an exciting thing. I used to speed in all the wrong places, and then as a youngster got straightened out and put into the right place, if you like, on a racetrack.
People used to tell me 3 points didn't affect your sort of premium, but now I've noticed it does, and I'm able to insure far more higher horsepower cars and that for the same price as 2-litre car that I have.
You know, there are numerous instances of people coming away from racetracks, even as spectators, and killing themselves or others because they think, or in a mindset, right, that puts risk aside and puts speed and performance in its place.
But you know yourself, it's nice to have a little bit of poke power under the bonnet.
Move on, Guy Martin. Oh, Martin's down. Guy Martin's gone off an island. Oh, it's a big one.
I think there's also a culpability in many motor manufacturers is why are there vehicles which are clearly able to exceed national speed limits, which actually are able to induce levels of acceleration, which are uncontrollable by most drivers? You know, we have to ask ourselves, why is it that we blur that, if like, distinction between danger-based recreational sport by bringing such vehicles onto public spaces?
Look at Kirkmichael Village on the TT. We go through there, so you drive through there during the day and you genuinely would struggle to do 30 mile an hour safely. You're looking at, 15, 20 mile an hour most of the time because it's just not safe to do it. We go through there on the race bikes, about 185 mile an hour, something like that, 170, 185. I don't think I've ever heard of a crash in Kirkmichael Village at the TT.
That thing's 800 horsepower, and I'm doing 0 to 200 in 11 seconds, 11.8 seconds. I'm doing 0 to 200. So the
200?
thing, 0 to 200 in 11.8 seconds, yeah.
The speed of that normal, like.
Yeah, well, I know a Veyron does. No, that new McLaren, that £1 million thing that they're testing now, does 0 to 185 in 13.5 seconds.
That's going to chuck you in the seat, isn't it?
So that's fast, isn't it? Yeah. But then if you think I'm doing it on a bike built in a shed, 0 to 200 in 11.8, that's fast, isn't it?
It is,
yeah.
I'd like to see you, I wouldn't like to do it.
It's fast, it's like nothing else. It's like nothing else. The speed of those bikes is like nothing else. Come and have a look in the shed.
For me, it's things like paragliding or basically anything that's got an adrenaline kick, that's exciting, that's new, particularly like anything new really. I don't think there's ever any one thing. I'm always searching for something that's going to just put a smile on my face. I think the strange thing is with me is that people expect that I'm an adrenaline junkie. They expect that I like the speed and the danger. The reality is that whenever I'm actually going fast or whenever I'm actually doing something which could be risky, I'm doing it in the safest way I can. I've always got body armour on when I'm off-road. I've always got an emergency parachute when I'm flying a paraglider. I'm actually strangely quite a risk-averse person, but I love the thrill of the speed. I love the thrill of the adrenaline rush from whatever sport it may be.
We're bringing in independent intelligent speed assistance, which will limit the speed of vehicles to the speed limit from 2022, then there will come a time when, we can see that acceleration is just not required on the roads and should be limited.
That system on vehicles at work, and I don't speed in them because you know that you're about to get collared for it. By constantly watching my speed, my driving probably isn't as good. Watching the speed rather than watching for anticipating dangers.
Every single manoeuvre you make is recorded, and then you get a printout and a map of your journey, and it's brilliant. And I have been a victim of that with many other people, whereby it monitors where you are, how you're approaching roundabouts, how you're joining junctions, and the traffic light system. It's green if you're good, it's amber if you're dodgy, and obviously red if you're not doing it correctly. So for me, I've already been part of that system. I think it's very good. It makes you a very careful driver. But, the first time I did it, 126 infringements.
Oh, I don't think I'd make a safer driver, no. No, I think I'd go back to lacking concentration.
I'm gonna sound stupid, but you know yourself, is there ever enough? You get used to it, then it feels slow.
Stop a lot of people driving so much as well, which is another good thing really, because the fun and the excitement of driving gets taken away. It is just a means of transport.
Our speed can limit the options which other people have on those public spaces, and the consequences are vast when it all goes wrong as well.
If I carried riding on the road, I was going to come back in a box. Just started to ride stupid.
Go down the rail, get to 60, sit in this position on the bike, go over this bridge. Got white lines to it's just like a stop.
The older I get, the faster I was and the more I forget.